Jake here for Extreme Terrain, and today I'm taking a look at the Old Man Emu front upper control arms fitting 2003 and newer 4Runners. If you've got a lift or leveling kit on your 4Runner, then adding a set of upgraded upper control arms is a must for proper suspension alignment and performance. And this set from Old Man Emu offers serious strength, high quality, and the right geometry to get your 4Runner's alignment back into spec and keep it there no matter what sort of situations you encounter. Proper geometry and alignment are crucial to the performance and longevity of your suspension. And if you've gone ahead and lifted your 4Runner, then your stock control arms just aren't going to cut it for too long because they're not made to accommodate that additional height and angle. Thankfully, there's a solution from one of the best regarded brands in off-roading, Old Man Emu. Now this is a brand new pair of front upper control arms, and there's a number of things baked in here that make these worth your consideration. First and foremost is the increased angle of the ball joint. Now, you probably already spotted it, or you knew to look for it anyway, but the ball joints on these are at an angle versus completely perpendicular like your stock ones would be. So this is going to account for that extra height of your lift or leveling kit, and it's going to allow the suspension to maintain proper geometry and the right amount of movement in those ball joints. Now speaking of, these are also all new heavy duty ball joints that are greasable. Now you've got these caps on here, and these are removable. Underneath you'll find a Zerk fitting like this. It's going to allow you to lubricate those joints, thus extending their life. Now you also get new bushings on the other end of the arm as well, so these come ready to mount on your rig. Now the additional angle that these provide will give you between a plus 2.5 to plus 3.5 degree of caster. So that's the forward or rearward angle at which your front wheel and strut sit. Positive caster is the standard, it's what you want as it's going to provide stability on road as well as easier steering. So this is going to help correct any loss of positive camber with your stock control arms and the lift. Now these are also going to help correct your camber angle, so your wheels aren't going to be leaning in at the bottom like they would with a lift and stock control arms. So this means that your tires will stay more in contact with the road, so you're going to have better grip on the street and on the trail, and your tires are going to wear more evenly. You'll also be able to take turns better because when the truck leans, the contact patch is going to be much more even and flat. Now these are going to come pretty much ready to go out of the box. The only thing I did was I put this one cap on and removed this Zerk fitting. In order to lubricate these, you are going to have to put these on and take the cap off. But the cap looks very nice. It's only one bolt goes right in there. You are going to reuse your stock bolts for the actual pivot points up here, but you've got a new castle nut and cotter pin on each one as well. So these come pretty much ready to go right out of the box. The arms feature a forged ball joint housing and eyelets for the bushings. So these are going to be more than strong enough to handle whatever you can possibly throw at them, arguably even more so than your stock arms. Now the ball joints again are heavy duty, they are those greasable units, and the bushings on the mounting points are Giro bushings. So these are grease and maintenance free and free pivoting, so you get lots of motion out of these pivot points on the arms. And the whole arm is finished in ARB's Integrit powder coat finish, so they look good to boot. And these things are pretty hefty. They feel nice and heavy and solid in your hands. They're good quality. They're gonna last you a long time too. And that additional angle that you get is gonna be exactly what you need to get your truck back into alignment. Now pricing comes in at about $650 for the set, and that puts them in about the middle of the category when it comes to aftermarket upper control arms. There are more expensive choices out there, but for a truck that's got about a 2-inch lift on it, these are going to provide you with more than enough flexibility to get it aligned and driving safely. And if you have that mild lift in your 4Runner, these are definitely a worthwhile investment. It's going to keep your rig safe and functioning properly. Installation is going to get a 2 out of 3 on our difficulty meter, and this should take you about 2 hours to complete. Now these are not terribly difficult to fit. It's really only a couple of bolts. However, you do need to do some disassembly, and separating the original ball joints can be a bit of a pain. If you've ever had to do that before, you know exactly what I'm talking about. However, this is still a job that can be accomplished at home with a little bit of patience and a basic set of tools. And with that, let's head out to our install bay where we can walk you through the process.
Tools required for this install include an air gun, a ratchet, a clip remover tool, needle nose pliers, an extension, a 10mm socket, a 19mm swivel socket, a 3/16 Allen socket, a 7mm wrench, 19mm wrench, and 19mm ratcheting wrench. What's up guys? Today we're installing a set of upper control arms on our 4Runner, so let's get started. So our first step is to remove our 2 covers that are blocking our access to our upper control arm bolt. So we'll grab a clip remover tool and pop out all these clips. And now we can do that same thing for our other one. Next, we can remove our brake line bracket on our upper control arm. So we'll grab a 10mm socket to take that out. Next, we can disconnect our upper control arm ball joint. We'll take a pair of needle nose pliers to remove our cotter pin. Now I've sprayed our nut down with a little bit of penetrating lubricant just to help us out a little bit. And then we'll take our 19mm socket to loosen this up. Now with that still threaded on a little bit, we can strike the side of the knuckle to break our ball joint free. So now with our upper ball joint broken free from our knuckle, we can pull down on our upper control arm to finish removing that nut. Next, we can remove our upper control arm bolt. So we have a 19mm bolt and nut. So I'm grabbing a 19mm wrench on our bolt side and a 19mm ratcheting wrench on our nut side. And now with our nut and washer removed from one side, we can work on sliding our bolt out. Now once we have our upper control arm removed on one side, we can do that same thing on the other side. So now we can install our new upper control arm. First, we're gonna fish our bolt back. And then we're gonna go underneath of our brake line. And we can start sliding our bolt through. And then once we get that through, we can install our washer as well as our nut on the other side. And then we can grab our 19mm wrench for our bolt side, 19mm ratcheting wrench for our nut side, and tighten this down. And now we can pull down on our upper control arm to connect it back to our knuckle. Take our castle nut off. And thread that onto the bottom. And now we can take our 19mm socket to tighten down our castle nut. Now we're gonna have to have one of the holes in the stud line up with the slot here. You always wanna tighten this and never loosen. So we'll just give it a couple more taps until it lines up. So now with the hole in our stud lined up with the slot in our castle nut, we can take our new cotter pin, slide that through, and then we'll just bend that around the stud. Next, we can reattach our brake line bracket. So we'll take our nut off of the stud, slide that on, thread our nut back on, and then tighten that down with a 10mm socket. So now the only thing we have left to do is to grease our ball joint. For demonstration purposes, we're not going to be doing this. However, once you're finished greasing your ball joint, you're going to take a 7mm wrench to remove your grease fitting. And we're going to be installing our cap with the bolt that's going to go into the hole for the grease fitting. It's going to be a 3/16 Allen bolt. So we'll get that socket, line it up, and thread it in. And then we can put that on a ratchet just to tighten it the rest of the way down. Now once you're done with this, you can repeat that whole process on the other side. So now the last thing we have to do is reinstall our two covers. So we're just gonna line these up with the original holes and press them in. And then we'll just do that same thing on the other side. And then you can do that same thing on the opposite side. So that'll wrap up this review and install of the Old Man Emu upper front control arms for your 2003 and newer 4Runner. Thank you for watching, and for all things 4Runner, keep it right here at extremeterrain.com.